Hi, this is Dr. Bob with Carolina Bayou Pet Care. Thanks for joining us today. And today we're going to be talking about what foods to avoid when feeding your dog. Doesn't come up too often, thank goodness, but more appropriately, we have more discussions about what to feed your dog rather than what to avoid. So this is actually going to be useful for everybody, I'm sure. So I have Shelly's going to be asking some questions, so let's get it started.
Hi, Dr. Bob. How do I know what foods are toxic to dogs?
Basically, when you think of toxic foods, and obviously we're not thinking about dog foods. We're thinking about inappropriate food coming that you and I would feed our dogs. And basically, there's about 3 or 4 different things we need to be concerned about. Primarily, chocolate. And I think most people by now know that chocolate can be toxic. Just so you do know, the darker the chocolate, the more at risk it can be. And certainly the smaller the dog. That can be more of an issue just because of the relative how much is consumed and the size of the dog. But also consider how much is being consumed. But bottom line, please just do not give your dog chocolate, or make sure that you avoid access for your dog, especially with the holiday season. Brownies and things like that, or Halloween candy can always be easily accessible for a lot of dogs. So please, please, please be mindful of that. The other big issue, which most people are aware of, and if you're not, good for you for tuning into this, grapes and raisins. Grapes and raisins have been proven to be potentially fatal to a lot of dogs. Not every dog is going to be affected, but you don't want to find out the hard way. So please, please do not give your dog grapes or raisins. Again, there is a potential risk of death by giving them to many dogs. So those are the key things we'd want to avoid. One other thing I am going to make a point about, this is not actually food, but rawhides. I have no problem with people giving rawhides, but I am very intentional about where those rawhides are coming from. We do know that rawhides that are coming from Asia, in many cases, do have a lot of toxins in them when they're sort of kind of cooked in this vat with them. There can be different types of lead or mercury or things of that nature that can be a source of toxicity to a dog. So if you're going to use rawhides, that's fine. Please make sure that you're using something from North America. That's going to be crucial. So hopefully that'll give you some insights, if you weren't aware, some things to think about.
Can I feed my dog human food?
You can, and actually I don't really have any problems with that. I am concerned about what is the food that you're actually giving to your dog. And again, part of the best way of saying this is that we know in our heart of hearts what's healthy, what's nutritionally appropriate for us, what's going to be improving the quality of our life. We know what's good for us. And that's fine if you want to give that to your dog, and we'll talk about some more specifics. But if you're sitting there with a bowl of popcorn and Cheetos and pizza, and you think that's appropriate to give to your dog, no, it's simply not. Again, there's nothing nutritionally valuable or appropriate for your dog, and if you're going to be giving it what we would consider snack food or junk food. End of story. So basically, yeah, you can give human food. So let's say you've baked some chicken tonight. Great, that's fine. I don't have any problem with you giving that to your dog. I don't have any problem if you want to, brown some ground beef and give that to your dog. Beautiful. If you want to give them some vegetables. In fact, my favorite treats to give to dogs are vegetables. Anything from baby carrots to zucchini to cherry tomatoes. I am fine with all that. I would much prefer you give vegetables over fruit if you are going to give a treat. But actually, I will kind of lean on a little bit about treats for dogs. Honestly, if it comes in a box or it comes in a bag, I just do not recommend it. Much better nutritionally, calorie-wise, fiber, vitamins, minerals, to give some vegetables. That would be, you can make have some zucchini sticks, or again, some cherry tomatoes, or some baby carrots. Those are all appropriate to give to your dog. I don't have any problem with that. So getting back to the question about giving human food, just be intentional about making sure if you're going to give human food, that's fine, but just make sure it's going to be nutritionally appropriate for your pet, as it would be for you.
How do I know if the food I'm giving my dog is making them sick?
Probably the best way is if your dog actually gets sick, either through vomiting and or diarrhea. Now, granted, there could be a lot of reasons. It may not just be food. If your dog gets sick on its stomach, Could be something else. It could be an intestinal bug, either like a virus or a bacterial infection that's causing the problem, or it could be stress. It could be any number of things. But yeah, we do. If we do see a dog that does get sick, or if we make a sudden change in a diet or something of that nature, and they just don't seem to be able to digest it very well, then yeah, so it certainly could be the case.
Can changing my dog's diet suddenly cause harm?
Not cause harm so much as, again, maybe some intestinal distress. Nothing that would be permanent or lasting. But yeah, so some dogs there's no problem changing a diet, and a lot of dogs will just you can just feed them anything different foods every day, and they're going to be absolutely fine. But some dogs are going to be much more sensitive, and if that's the case, and if you happen to know that's going to be the case, then we need to make an appropriate change by just slowly introducing a new diet while giving a little bit less of the current food. But as far as causing any lasting harm, no. But as far as the potential for intestinal distress or upset or vomiting or diarrhea, yeah, that's entirely possible, but we can help manage that.
And how does an elimination diet work?
Yeah, really good question too. That really actually gets more into food allergies. And food allergies, that's a whole nother subject. And I will kind of mention a couple of things about food allergies. I'm kind of passionate about the dermatology and the effects it does have on dogs' skin health, and food allergies can be a big part of that. So when we're dealing with a food, or an elimination diet, quite simply what we're doing is we're trying to eliminate things that we're thinking are causing, whether maybe intestinal distress or skin problems, biting, scratching, licking, itching, chewing. So what we can do quite simply is go to an entirely different protein. Now we can introduce the new food, same way we mentioned a few minutes ago, by gradually introducing a new food while with each meal you give less and less of the current diet. So that's an appropriate way to introduce a different protein or different diet into your dog's routine. But basically, just so you know, when it comes to food allergies, I'll speak to it very quickly. Do I ever do anything quickly? Probably not. But when it comes to food allergies, chicken and beef are the two primary causes for food allergies, followed by lamb and dairy, followed by pork, brown rice, wheat, soy, corn. Okay? So if we suspect your dog has a food allergy, again, we want to get them off whatever that primary protein is, usually chicken or beef, get them off that and get them onto an appropriate or a different protein that's significantly less likely to cause an adverse reaction. We can switch to salmon or whitefish, trout, venison, goat, kangaroo, ostrich. So we've got a number of choices available to us. So essentially that's what an elimination diet is all about, is when we suspect a food allergy, we're trying to eliminate the different proteins they were getting exposed to by through their diet previously and getting them on to something entirely different. So hopefully that'll give you some insights into things to avoid. And if you have any further questions, please reach out to us at Carolina Value Pet Care. Thanks for joining us.